A decent working dog won't complain when he's hurting. He will just endure it, standing quietly by your leg while his own skin drives him mad. That means you have to keep a sharp eye out. You catch him chewing on his foot after supper, digging at his coat until the fur is gone, leaving a bare, angry patch behind his collar, and you catch that sour odor rising off his back. It weighs heavily on your mind, because he is family in his own way, and you just want to bring him some relief. Now, folks will try to sell you all sorts of expensive treatments for this. The bottles, the powders, and the pills. And sure, some of those have their purpose, but the farmers of old kept their dogs in prime shape, with shiny coats and healthy skin for pennies. They did it straight from the pantry, using plain common sense. Today, I am going to share those old methods with you. The simple upkeep of a dog's coat and skin, and I promise to be straight with you all the way through about what these home remedies can actually fix and what requires a proper animal doctor instead. I tend to this farm just like my family always has. There has always been a hound or two around the property, helping with the livestock, keeping a fellow company, and resting by the door. Let me be completely clear right from the jump. I am not a veterinarian. I do not pretend to be an animal doctor. What I am sharing with you is the practical care a countryman gives his dog to soothe a minor annoyance and nourish a solid coat. But if your dog is constantly scratching, covered in open wounds, and genuinely suffering, you need to take him to a real vet. That could be the mange, a bad infection, or a severe allergy that no kitchen remedy will touch. The only decent thing to do then is get him professional help. Keep that thought close as we go through this. I will remind you again before we finish. Back when I was a youngster, we had a black and white dog named Shep. He herded the cows and dozed on the back steps, and I adored him the way only a child can. One hot season, he started chewing himself raw. He was miserable. His fur lost its shine, and I worried over him endlessly. I recall my dad did not rush out to buy anything. He just looked the dog over closely, started feeding him better with good meat fat, gave him a cool oatmeal soak in the wash tub, and kept his coat brushed clean. Within a few weeks, old Shep's fur was glowing, and the itching had pretty much stopped. But I also remember another time when a different dog got sick, with something my dad could not fix. He did not let his pride get in the way, or try to stubborn it out. He took that dog straight to the man who knew animals, telling me it is no kindness to let a dumb creature suffer just to save your own pride. Both of those lessons stayed with me. The simple home comforts that mend most daily troubles, and the good sense to know when a problem is past your own hands. That is the entirety of what I am handing down to you today. Let us begin with bringing peace to a dog that is itching right this minute, because stopping that misery is your first job, and there are a handful of gentle, old-fashioned ways to comfort them. The first is for when your dog has chewed a single area completely raw. People usually call it a hot spot, a wet, red, angry patch where he has scraped the fur clean off. Taking a little plain coconut oil and rubbing it softly onto that area will cool the burning and lay down a clean shield over the skin. If he licks it off, which he is bound to do, it won't hurt him a bit since it is just a pure, natural oil. It isn't magic, and it will not heal a major sickness, but for a tiny, fresh, itchy scrape, it brings sweet relief, and you likely have a jar in the kitchen already. If you are able, clip the fur away from the sore first. That lets the fresh air hit it, stopping the moisture from getting trapped under the tangled hair. A hot spot needs air to dry out and mend, and the trapped dampness is mostly what keeps it raw. And watch it closely, because if the spot gets bigger, oozes badly, or doesn't calm down in a couple of days, it is beyond a pantry comfort. That means it has likely gone to infection and needs the animal doctor. The coconut oil is only for a minor, early problem, not a severe one. Now, suppose the whole dog is scratching, his entire skin red, flaky, and unhappy. The traditional relief for that is an oatmeal bath, and this truly brings peace, since oats have been trusted to calm irritated skin on both man and beast for ages. Grab some plain breakfast oats, the standard kind with zero sugar or flavoring, and mill a cup or two until it is a fine dust. Then you fill a tub for the dog, and pay attention, because this next part is crucial. That water has to be cool, or just barely lukewarm. Never warm and absolutely never hot. Hot water on a scratching dog just fires up the itch, pulls the blood to the surface, and angers the skin more. Keep it cool. Mix your oat dust into that cool water until it looks like milk. Stand the dog in, and scoop that milky water all over his back. Let him stand there and soak for a solid 10 minutes, if he will tolerate it. The oats leave a quiet film across his hide, pulling out the heat and the urge to scratch. After that, pat him dry with a towel. Do not rub him roughly, and you will likely find a much calmer, settled dog who can finally get some rest. It is a genuine, time-tested comfort, and it only sets you back a scoop of oats. It works because ground oats have a natural calming quality that lays a soothing layer over the burning skin. You can bathe him like this every couple of days while he is suffering. It will not hurt him, and many dogs learn to stand quietly for it once they realize it brings relief. Just remember to keep the water cool every single time. Give him a soft brushing when he is dry, and you have done him a real kindness. There is another remedy for the dog whose paws or ears carry that sour, corn chip smell and itch. Those moist, warm spots are where that yeasty trouble loves to hide. Taking a mild wash of apple cider vinegar, mixed half and half with warm water, and dabbing it on with a rag can help clean up those areas, because that mild sourness makes a hostile home for the yeast. But listen to me very carefully here, because this comes with a strict warning. You must never put vinegar, even diluted, on skin the dog has chewed open or scraped raw. It is an acid, and it will burn that broken skin fiercely, which is just cruel to the animal. It is only for unbroken skin that just smells and itches, never for a wound. And if those ears are truly awful, bright red, foul-smelling, and sore, that is a proper ear infection. That needs the vet, not a washcloth. So, use the gentle wash for a minor case, and the doctor for a severe one. Make sure to dry his paws and ears thoroughly afterward. That yeasty issue thrives on dampness between the toes and deep in the ear canal. If a dog has been out in the rain or splashing in a pond, drying out those folds will do more to prevent the trouble than any wash can do to fix it once it sets in. If your dog is chewing his paws more out of boredom and fidgeting rather than a real itch, the old remedy is the easiest one yet. Hand him something decent to chew on. A large raw carrot, perhaps a frozen one if it is a sweltering day, gives him a nice cool object to gnaw. It occupies his mind, keeps him satisfied, and is perfectly healthy for him. A restless dog will invent his own trouble, which is usually his own feet. So giving him a proper thing to chew is half the battle won. Now, let us move from soothing the outside to the real bedrock of a good coat, which is what goes into the dog's bowl. This is where you actually grow a healthy hide that does not want to itch in the first place. Feed a dog poor, dry kibble, and he will sprout a poor, dry coat that flakes and invites trouble. Put some quality fat and real nourishment in his belly, and he will grow thick, shining fur and flexible skin. That right there is your longest-lasting defense against the scratching, much better than any bath. The old farm dog ate the good table scraps, the fat and meat trimmings, and he thrived on it. The best thing for building a coat is healthy fat and proper oils, and there are a few simple ways to provide them. A little bit of fish is excellent. Stirring a small tin of plain sardines into his supper once or twice a week delivers a rich dose of those good oils that construct a glowing coat. Just be certain they are the plain ones packed in water, no added salt, and no sauces, as those are bad for him. If he turns his nose up at the fish, a simple cooked egg works wonderfully too. It is a wholesome builder of dog fur, and pouring a splash of homemade bone broth over his dinner is just about the finest thing you can offer. Just the plain broth from slow-boiled beef or chicken bones, full of the nutrients that support both skin and joints. Now, you do not dump all of these into his bowl on the same day, mind you. A dog's digestion needs time to adjust to rich new foods, or it will upset his stomach, and you will regret pushing him too fast. Take it slow and easy. Offer a little fish a couple of days a week, maybe an egg on another day, a splash of broth the next, mixing it in gradually and watching his reaction. And be sure to scoop out a little of his regular dry food to make space, so you aren't just overfeeding and fattening him up. A heavy dog becomes a sick dog eventually. Feed him well, but in sensible amounts. If you do this steadily for a few weeks, you will watch his coat turn glossy and his skin calm down. That underlying health is the truest armor against the itch. But right here, I must hand you a strict warning. Actually, 2 strict warnings for this whole video, and they are the most crucial things I will speak on, so listen closely. When you fix that bone broth, do it yourself, plain as can be. Only bones and water simmered away. Never use the broth from the grocery store meant for people, and never spice it up, because that is almost always cooked with onions and garlic. Onions and garlic are pure poison to a hound. They will cause him severe harm. So, absolutely no onions or garlic ever. Not in his bowl, his broth, or his table scraps. Plain water and bones is the only broth for a dog. Keep the seasoned human stuff far out of his reach. The second strict warning can drop a dog dead, so carve it into your mind. There is an artificial sweetener called Xylitol, sometimes listed as birch sugar, used in plenty of sugar-free goods, like certain peanut butters, yogurts, chewing gums, and sweets. It is a fatal poison to a dog, even in a tiny dose. It ruins the liver and kills in a hurry. So, if you ever hand your dog a lick of peanut butter or yogurt, you check that jar every single time to be dead. Sure, there is 0 xylitol or birch sugar inside. This has nothing to do with scratching. But it is the single most vital piece of knowledge for a dog owner, and too few have it. So I could not skip past without telling you. Before we talk about fleas and ticks, I need to say a plain word about the hairbrush and basic cleanliness. Folks tend to forget it, but it is half the secret to a great coat. A dog needs regular brushing, especially the shaggy ones. The brush clears out dead fur and grime, pulls his natural skin oils down the length of his hair for a good shine, and gives his hide room to breathe. A thoroughly brushed dog suffers far less from tangles, trapped moisture, and itching than an ignored one. It does him good mentally, too. A dog relishes that attention, and those few minutes with the brush feel like pure kindness to him. Also, keep his sleeping spot clean. A dog's bed collects dust and loose fur, and it is exactly where fleas will lay their eggs if they catch a break. So, shake his blankets out and wash them periodically to rob the fleas of a nesting ground. A well-brushed dog on a clean bed, eating proper food, is mostly safe from skin trouble before you do anything else. Now, I need to speak truth about fleas and ticks, because there is a whole lot of nonsense spread about them, and some of it can get your dog hurt. You will hear folks claim you can feed a dog pantry items, vinegar, brewer's yeast, or even garlic to make his blood taste nasty so the bugs won't bite. They say it makes him invisible to pests. I will tell you flat out that is a lie, and I won't pretend it isn't, no matter how nice it sounds. There is not a single spoonful of anything that will protect a dog from a tick. And as I just warned you, that garlic folks recommend is literally toxic to him. So that advice hurts him twice over. Ticks are a serious danger. They carry terrible illnesses, like Lyme disease, that can ruin a dog's health forever, and can even spread to you. So here is where I put my foot down. Do not rely on a kitchen trick to stop ticks. For serious pests, you use the proper, tested medicine your vet supplies. If you live where ticks are heavy, use it religiously. Run your hands through his fur after he walks in the tall weeds and pluck off any ticks you find right away. Now, feeding him right, brushing him, and washing his bed does help keep fleas from taking over. A clean dog is a poor host for them. A fine-toothed comb dragged through his hair will reveal fleas and trap them too. Dunk the comb in a bowl of soapy water that is a solid, old-fashioned way to clear them off the dog himself. But if a flea problem has truly taken root, remember they are hiding in your rugs and his bedding just as much as on his back. Washing his bed in scalding water and scrubbing the floors is what defeats them, not just treating the animal. But I repeat, none of that is your armor against ticks and the sickness they bring. That requires real medicine. Not a dab of vinegar. Telling you anything else would be doing you and your animal a great wrong. Let me explain why there is so much bad advice out there. It isn't a grand evil plot. It's just the way of the world. There is a lot of cash to be made off an anxious dog owner buying pricey bottles, fancy shampoos, and expensive kibble. And there is money flowing the other way too, with folks selling you a miracle cure out of your cupboard for the price of their little guides and powders. Both sides want your wallet. Sitting right in the middle is the simple truth, which doesn't pay anyone. A dog just needs wholesome food, a clean bed, a little gentle relief when he itches, real medicine from a doctor when he is very sick, and tested protection where the ticks are thick. Nobody gets rich off plain truth, so it gets drowned out by the salesman on both sides, and the old common sense gets buried between the costly pills and the fake miracles. So, let us wrap it up clearly. For an itchy dog, gently rub plain coconut oil on a raw patch, give a cool oatmeal bath for an all-over miserable hide, dab watered-down vinegar on unbroken skin that smells sour, and hand a raw carrot to a dog that chews from boredom. To grow a strong coat that resists itching from the start, feed him well with healthy fats, a bit of plain water-packed sardine, a cooked egg, or a splash of your own plain, unseasoned bone broth. Never feed onions or garlic. Never give him anything with xylitol or birch sugar, because that takes lives. And do not trust home remedies to stop ticks. Use the vet's proven medicine to block those diseases. Above all, if your dog is totally miserable with open sores or deep sickness, take him to the animal doctor. That is the only kind choice, and no old trick can replace it. I would love to hear about your own hound. Tell me down in the comments what your dog deals with the scratching, the pests, the dry fur, and what traditional ways you use to keep your creatures healthy. The country folks watching surely know a few tricks worth sharing. Let me know what part of the world you are in, and if the ticks are heavy there, because that helps us all to know. I do read what you write. I am planning to show you the old ways of keeping barn cats next, those working mousers that earn their keep, and how the early farmers kept the rats out of the grain naturally without ever touching a poison, just like it was always done. A good dog doesn't ask for much, just simple food, a dry bed, a gentle hand, and help when he is hurting. In return, he hands over more loyalty than most of us ever earn. The old farmers knew how to raise a strong animal with plain sense, decent food, and knowing when to call the doctor. And they kept faithful dogs by their boots their whole lives doing just that. The folks who built this land with their own hands understood it, and we are just now starting to remember it again.